Yes. Okay, we should be live. Yes, we are. We're live. We're live. When I look down, all I see is the top of my head every time. Okay, so we're giggling because we've just come off another interview. And this is the amazing Alison Felton, all the way
Hello.
in South Australia.
Yes.
And I'm here in Perth. So welcome again, Alison. And I asked you in the last interview to give us a little bit of who you were and who you are now. And then I interrupted it magnificently because I got so interested in you doing homeschooling.
Yep.
But give us a brief, as in, what was it that made you do what you do now? Was there a kind of a, I have to do something because what's there isn't working?
Yeah. So, well, like as I was saying in the other interview, I started off in that health and fitness industry because I had real interest in about the human body working, how it worked. And then it was actually the year I turned 40 that I had, and I didn't realize it until I looked back that year was quite a significant year. My grandmother passed away that year as well. I turned 40 and I was in the middle of homeschooling the children. My husband had taken the kids away for the long weekend to give me a little bit of a break. So I had the house to myself for 3 days and I was standing in the bathroom and I just had one of those awakening moments where I thought, you think we are what we eat. And I went, oh, wow, so what I eat's actually going to affect my health, and all that alcohol I've ever drunk is going to actually affect my health. And what if I've already given myself a horrible disease? And I started to get really anxious. Wow. And I spent the whole weekend researching about health and nutrition and the body healing itself, and read some incredible stories of people with terminal illnesses that had reversed them just through diet and lifestyle. And that kind of set me on the path to wanting to know more whilst I was still homeschooling, which then led to me doing my health science degree, and then got really passionate about personalized health. And that, because with these stories of people reversing, quite serious illnesses, they all had similarities, but they didn't all do it the same way. So, right. So obviously they all took out McDonald's and alcohol and, smoking and those obvious things, but they all didn't eat exactly the same diet or do exactly the same things. But whatever they did was enough to support their body, for their body to heal, which the body is very capable of doing. It's an incredible machine. And it just really fascinated me. So, I just led more and more into wanting to understand the individual body types and how we develop as an embryo, and all the different influences and the genetic expression behind that. And then, so what works for you will be different from your friend, different from your, your husband or your partner or your kids or because we're all different. So,
You can tell how passionate you are about it. I do. Which is great, which is terrific. So tell me about making that into a business. How has that journey been for you?
It's been quite interesting because, when I did my degree, I actually did it more for my own interest. And after homeschooling for 12 years, I wanted to get out into the adult world and be Alison again, and, not mum that homeschooled. And I wanted that brain stimulation, a little bit of, intellectual stimulation. So I had no goal of, I'm going to do this degree so I can be something or do something. And then, as we discussed in the other interview, I did really well with my degree and won the Academic Excellence Award, the national award for the colleges. And so everyone was like, oh, wow, you're really smart. You'll be really good at this. What are you going to do? You should do something. What are you going to do? And I was like, I don't know. And I didn't want to consult how you get trained in student clinic. But I didn't know what else to do. So that's what I started doing. And I worked out very quickly that I didn't like it and it's not what I wanted to do. And I just have spent the last 12 months trying different things, getting more and more involved with the personalized health training that I've done, a bit of extra training. And then lo and behold, a virus comes along that completely turns our world upside down. I had to close my clinic and not do face-to-face. And I've got more and more involved in being online and working with a lot more clients over Zoom. So,
Wow.
you know, who would have thought?
Yeah.
It just
Oh,
grows.
who would have? It literally,
Yeah.
it turned my business on its head, but in a good way.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, it just, you know, when you have the ability to be able to pivot,
Yes.
it actually makes a huge, huge difference. So tell me how you're going. I know that we're in the Better Business Builders group right now. I know that you're also a member of our membership program. How are you finding that support to, and it's not as in how's our support in others, but what are you finding is different in that to other things you've come across?
I think probably one of the things that is mostly different is a lot of the things I've done. There's, you know, we talk about what you need to do, why you need to do it, and then sometimes the how is not as clear as it should be. And I think that's one of the things in the Better Business Builders. There's a lot of the how, and like the literally, if you know you're doing copyright, you write it, and then someone will go, well, you could do this different here and maybe move that there and use more these types of words here. So you're actually getting the how, so you end up with something at the end of it that you can then use in your business, rather than sort of knowing what you should be doing, understanding why you should be doing it, but then not really knowing how to do it.
Yeah, beautiful. And I know you did the copywriting course, and it's just because you've alluded to it in that.
Yeah.
When you were saying that you walked away with something, have you utilized that to your benefit within your business?
I am starting to. I tend to be the sort of person where I like to hear things several times and process it.
Yeah.
And I'm now at the point where I'm so clear about what I want to write that I can almost just say that in my head now.
Beautiful.
So I'm not an action taker. That's probably not the right word, but I was going to say I'm not like, you know, here, do this and bang, action, go and do it. I do need to sort of ruminate on, and that is actually part of my my health type. That is actually part of how my brain works. So the negative side of that is I can be a procrastinator.
Yeah.
But the positive side is I'm a deep thinker, ruminator, and I want to make sure that I understand what I'm doing in the process and get it right to a certain level. Don't have to be perfect, but I need to know that it's right on a certain level. So keeping revisiting it, and also the membership site, having it there to keep revisiting. You know, when you hear things many times, it just all of a sudden understand it, it becomes normal, and off you go. So I'm at that point now.
I love that you have such an awareness, like when you say that it is, you know, in your body type profile as well. And look, I've done different profiling for years, and they all overlap, and they're all quite accurate, and they can be, oh my God, it's amazing. How powerful has it been for you to really understand your body type in all its behaviors?
It's great because you can just be really comfortable with being yourself. And when you do something in a group, and there's lots of people in the group doing it this way and you're not, and you get that sense of, oh, there's something wrong with me, I don't know how to do it, or I'm not like that, and like that's a problem. When you actually understand that that's how you're wired, and there will be other people like you as well, that you go, well, it's actually okay for me not to be like that because I'm not like that. And it's actually quite comforting and quite, I just feel like it gives you permission to be who you are and to be okay with being, and not trying to strive to be something or somebody that you're not. And what a burden does that take off when all of a sudden you go, oh, actually, that's how my brain works. And it doesn't matter if I'm the person that takes 2 weeks to do it and somebody else did it, you know, the day after. Because if I did it the day after, it wouldn't work, and that would have put more stress on me, and it would have upset me, and it would have ended up probably impacting negatively on my business. But if it takes me 2 weeks to do it, but then when I do it, I've got it right for me, then that's okay, you know.
Knowledge is power.
Absolutely. Yeah.
What's the and this is a silly question I like to throw in, but it's quite funny. What's the silliest thing that you've ever heard somebody say about you?
The silliest thing anyone's ever said about me? Oh, wow. Oh, look, I've just got the sense of so many things, but I can't come up with something specific. It's usually around where people tell you how you are. You're a certain way, but you're actually not. But I can't think of a specific. Yeah, I can't think of a specific.
So people's assumptions of you, so they've said, oh my God, you're blah, blah, blah. And you're like, because I think I shared it in another interview. One of mine was exactly that, when a guy I had grown up with, like we were kids together or whatever, but my dad had retired early and he worked kind of where he was working, he worked around the corner, so he didn't need to use his car. So in Ireland, nobody had a car at my age, when we were young. I was the spoiled little daughter, youngest of 5 daughters. I got to use his car when nobody else, none of my friends had a car. But I overheard this guy who, again, I've known since anything, telling somebody else, oh, you're hanging out with Carmen Murphy, she's a snob. And I'm going, what? You've known me since whatever, you still know me. How are you calling me a snob? What the hell?
I think one of the things that was said to me once, a little bit like that, and this was after, you know, we're talking about the homeschooling, and then my daughter did go into senior high school for a period of time, and I remember I used to go up to the school and challenge a few things that they would implement as education. And one of the teachers said to me once that we were having a little bit of a conversation. I was actually talking about some of the material, like DVDs that they were showing children in the name of education, and I was querying the value of that. And I basically told that my values and morals were too high. And I was like, are mine too high or are society's too low? I don't know. But I just thought, well, I don't know. I just felt that, some of the material, I mean, I just as an example, and this is just way off a tangent here, but my girlfriend's daughter, who was going to the same school, they were doing marine biology. It was in year 9. They were doing biology and they were just touching a little bit on marine biology just as a little module, and they showed the DVD Finding Nemo. And I went, okay, so, you know, not that there's anything wrong with that movie. I love that movie.
But what has it got to do with marine biology?
I'm thinking that's potentially a little bit of lazy teaching myself, and maybe I suppose you could have gone through and talked about the stingray and the sharks and the different things in there, but I thought, you know, so as a parent I would have questioned that, and then it would have been pushed back onto me that my expectations would be too high or my values were too high. And I thought, well, I don't know, I'm not sure that they are, but anyway.
Wow, that's interesting, because what has that got to do with it?
I know.
So in business we have fears and we have challenges, and we have, you know, the illusion, and I used to have this illusion myself. Number one was in hospitality as a young waitress in Ireland. Used to think, I just want to be a manager, because when I'm a manager, they do nothing. Then you become a manager and go, oh my God, their work is so hard. It was the same with being an entrepreneur or being a business owner. And I do think they can be two completely different things. But I had an illusion how it was going to be and what it was going to be like. But people think, and I always remember one distinguishing thing standing out for me was many years ago, I was what was I called? I was a state manager of a recruitment company. And I remember saying to my partner then, oh, look at all those people, they're all corporate. And he said, you do know you're kind of corporate as a state manager. I'm like, huh? Because to me, I still had these people on a pedestal. I guess that's what I'm getting at. You have people on a pedestal or an illusion, they're in business. They must know what they're doing. Here's little old me pretending that I'm in business. I don't know what I'm doing. So when you come to realize the other side of it, if there is another side of it, that we all still have these crazy fears and doubts and unsure. So what is your biggest fear in a business sense?
My biggest fear, some of my biggest learning curve at the moment is I just employed a VA, and you know, now there's this idea that I know what I'm doing well enough to be able to delegate her, you know, tasks to do, and I don't feel like a boss, I guess. And you know, there's that sense of, I mean, and you don't have to be a boss with a VA. I mean, I'm working with her like a team. She's part of my team to help me, but I still feel like I need to know everything to be able to delegate to her. And I don't know lots of things, let alone everything. So that's scary. That's scary.
Yeah, absolutely. And I went through that myself. And I think some of it is that, again, we have this illusion, but we also, going back to like, and why I admire you doing the homeschooling and everything like that, because quite often we grow up and we go into the societal norms and the training that we're supposed to go into. And part of that is to be a good little employee.
Yeah.
So we've gone through that for years, and you have to actually change from an employee to an employer.
Yeah.
And it's if you look at Sidra Stone's work about the selves, the many different selves we have. There's a worker self and an entrepreneur self and all of this.
Yeah.
But worker self does the work and they're very bloody good at it. But employer self is a different self. And it's a different set of standards or KPIs and all of that sort of thing. So even though you say, oh, with a VA, I'm working as a team. No, you're actually the employer. It's just we've been trained as employees for so long that the employer is just crap at earning money.
Just makes me feel better being a team. But I will say something in there that's quite interesting, because if you look at my work history, like in my life, so you know, I started work, well, I had a, you know, menial job at Target while I was still at high school, but you know, I started work at 18 and a half, proper job 19. I would then worked for probably 7 years in different, you know, so in the fitness industry mostly. I did work, you know, at the casino and did a few other little jobs as well. I then got married, and from the time that I was pregnant with our first child to a couple of years ago, I didn't work. So I, you know, stayed at home with our children and I homeschooled them, and then I did my own, you know, it took me 6 years to finish my degree. So it's only at the end of that. So I actually don't have an employment history, like a history as an employee. So, and I've gone straight into coming out and not working for somebody. It's just like, just create my own job, my own business. And so there's not a lot for me to draw on as an employee, because being an employee back when I was, you know, 20 to 24, 25, that's a long time ago. So it is.
But you have a reference point for it. Where's your reference point for being an employer?
Where up from homeschooling children, delegating to them. So but it is interesting.
It certainly is an interesting concept.
Because I was going to say, really, when I came out of college and you know, got that sort of you know, in a sense it was external pressure. It wasn't intentional pressure. It was more enthusiasm from people of like, oh wow, you know, you've done so well, you're so clever, you'll be so good, you'll be able to help so many people. That all I could think of is that I didn't know what I wanted to do with, you know, how, but to do something. Because if you do nothing, nothing will evolve. So I had to do something. I had to start somewhere. And that's what I basically did, is I just started consulting and went, no, that's not right. Tweaked it a bit, tried again. No, that wasn't quite right. Tweaked it a bit until I've got to the point now where I'm going, yes, this is what I love to do. And this is how I like to work with my clients and how I like to help people. So, but if I'd come out and did nothing because I didn't know what it was, I didn't know what I wanted to do, I'd still be sitting here doing nothing because there was nothing to build on or to change or to evolve from. So you got to do something, even if it's not right.
Yeah, wow,
So,
that's really insightful. So you
mm,
said that now you've tweaked it, so you've got it right now for all
well,
intensive purposes. So now it's
got
just
brighter
building
than
on
it
that.
was.
But you've discovered kind of more of what you want to do, so now it's
Yeah.
just building on that. So
Yes.
what are you going to do differently to really start ramping that up and market yourself? How are you going to get that? Like, because the best doctors, the best anything in the world, nobody will know who they are if they can't market themselves.
Yeah, I think prior to getting really clear on the personalized health, which is where I always, and this I spend a lot of time with my clients trying to get them to understand that what works for one doesn't work for another. But it was a little bit of try. There was a bit more of that trial and error, and let's try some things and see if it works. Now that I'm working with a platform that gives so much more clarity, I feel like because I've got more clarity around the health types and body types, it means that I can target my marketing better for those different body types as well. So if I'm going to market, I just feel like I can be clearer about specific things that might not be working for people rather than those generalized
Yeah.
approaches.
So I love that. So really
Yeah.
getting into, so what is one of the, so I know in previous areas we talk about ideal client, avatar, all of that sort
Mm.
of thing. So what's one of the biggest problems? I like to call it the Panadol problem. What is that Panadol problem that you solve for your clients?
Well, often it's an interesting thing because often with the women that I work with, even though they have, other underlying health issues, it pretty much is always about weight.
Weight loss?
Yes, weight
Yeah.
loss. So it's always been that elusive goal for a lot of women to lose the weight and maintain it as part of their normal health habits. Like
Yeah.
women have been able to lose it by doing something very specific for a specific goal. And then once they've achieved that goal, and whether it will be a wedding or a
Yeah.
holiday or something that they're going to or being part of, because they haven't implemented new habits, they've just focused on, if I do this for 8 weeks or 12 weeks
Yeah.
and I achieve my goal, then they do that, and then the moment's over, and and they just go back to what they were doing before. So I think it's just really, it is. There is no real Panadol solution when it comes to health, but I think it's more of a Panadol solution for their understanding and their perspective of what they're doing.
Well, I guess from my perspective, when I talk about the Panadol problem, I
Yeah.
talk about, and you're right, look, I would be one of those people that for many years, but there's always something that if I can just get that, that'll fix it.
Yes.
Now, we
Yeah.
know that it won't fix it,
Yeah.
but it's what are they actively searching for? And the weight
Yeah.
loss industry is humongous. Whether it's good,
Yes.
bad, right, or
It
wrong,
is.
we could talk about that for till the cows come home.
Yes.
At the end of the day, people are, looking for something specific, as in, I want to lose weight and keep it off, maybe,
Yeah.
whatever.
I think.
So it's
Yeah.
giving them the answer to the Panadol problem. So giving them what they want and then getting them so you can give them what they need.
They need. And also I think probably one of the key things is the acceptance of who they are. So for example, Oprah Winfrey will never be a Kylie Minogue.
No.
Even if she starves herself,
We'll cut her
she
off
is.
at the knees. She might be the same
Yeah,
height.
exactly. So she is a larger, stronger, sturdier body type
Yeah.
who lives in an environment that's not conducive to her body type, which is actually designed, it does really well in the feast famine scenario. So her body is designed really well to conserve energy. And that's all
Right.
fat tissue is. It's energy that's being conserved for dangerous times, for famines, and for a body type like that even if they're eating well and exercising well, if that body is stressed for other reasons, their brain is still going to go danger, famine coming, conserve energy.
Yes.
So it's about them understanding that health is not, whenever we think about weight loss and health, we go straight for food and exercise. But that's only part of the picture. There's so many other aspects that are really important because we want to take stress off the body to allow it to be in its natural balanced state. And then it will be what it's meant to be. And for someone like Oprah Winfrey or those larger figure people, it will never be a thin, tiny person.
Yeah.
And those very small, petite ballerina type body types will never be able to build big muscle. They'll never do well in a bodybuilding competition, you know, because that is not their body type. So acceptance of who you are and how you're built and how you're designed.
But that's what they need. That's not what people are actively searching for, because I guess that's the distinction when I talk panel over. It's like, what are they typing in the middle of the night?
Yes.
To what it is they want, that you can say, yeah, my solution solves that problem. When I get you in here, we'll solve the, you know, being okay with who you are and the body type that you have.
So they would be probably the main two things would be weight loss and energy. People are always fatigued, tired, they're over it, you know, so those kind of words.
So probably of a certain age and that sort of thing. Because
Yes.
it's a huge industry. If you can target it down to, you know, one or two little main things, that then it doesn't stop other people working with you, but it certainly will make you stand out, because the value that you've shared with us in the two, I'm intrigued. I'm going, tell me more. Can we talk a little bit more?
You can book in for a free 30-minute chat if you like.
Thank you. I will.
And we'll probably talk for hours.
Yeah, I know. It's fascinating though. And I mean, putting something like that real live example of the Oprah versus Kylie really conjures up an image in your head, and you go, yeah, because I'm more of an Oprah. I'm certainly not a Kylie. And it is that feast and famine, and we do have to conserve energy, but some people conserve more and blah, blah, blah.
Some of us do it very well.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I've been doing it very well for years.
And then you every now and again you meet that other body type, another woman who just cannot put on any weight, so they have no curves, they have no, for them, they feel like they have no figure, they're just, you know, very slender, and there's a level of acceptance of that is who they are, and we're trying to attain something that we see on screens and messages that we've been bombarded with since we were born. This is, you know, like, couldn't we go back to the Renaissance period where, you know, all the women then were voluptuous, big hips, big breasted, you know, if you were well covered, that meant health and wealth, you know. It was the wealthy people that could conserve energy. If you couldn't conserve energy, that meant you were poor with no food. So it's just the era that we live in, and to try and help women to cut through those messages and go, hey, let's just be happy, you know, happy with who you are, but let's get you into the healthy version of yourself.
I love it.
So,
awesome. We've done it again. We've just chatted for another 30 minutes, lickety split, just like that. Again, just for the end of this interview, let people know the best way to contact or communicate with you.
So you can just connect with me on Facebook, Alison Felton, private message me through there. I will add in a link for a calendar booking if anyone wants to chat with me. I do free 30-minute calls. Anybody who wants to know more about what I do. I have Alison Felton / Helix Nutrition is my Facebook business page. That will be being up. As I said before, I'm rebranding at the moment, so that'll all be changing. But yeah, just connect with me on Facebook or book in for a chat.
Beautiful. And I will see you on Thursday night at our members call.
Yes, and I won't forget this week. I can't believe I forgot last week.
That's okay. The recording is up there. And
I know.
All funnels.
So much better live though.
Okay, so thank you again so much. And definitely put that link in under, and I'll be the first one to book in.
Thanks, Carmel.
And we'll talk to you soon.
Really enjoyed it. Thank you.
Okay.
See ya. Bye.